Okay, people, I'm mad. Why? Because I don't like just sitting there patiently waiting for awarenesses to surface. I'm counting on being, irreplaceably useful. I'm not used to it at all. It's uncomfortable, and it goes completely against my wiring. Does that mean I'm not going to do it? No. It means that I'm only going to do it in morning and night. All the time in between is going to be conscious calculation. This is the configuration that will serve me the best. I'm pretty sure of that. I believe it's the most balanced. So let's dive straight in with limiting perceptions, lim perks. It isn't worth telling anyone that I'm afraid of being overwhelmed by others' needs. After all, what's the use of that? Well, how do I know? How do I know there isn't a use to it? I think it actually needs to be expressed, given the amount of outreach I intend to do. Then again, so much of it is based on recording because, that's what I strongly feel to be by far, infinite times over, the most efficient way of helping the maximum number of people. But that also, just typed words for those who, quote, don't have the time to hear recordings. And, well, let's face it, there are many, many situations, unfortunately, where they need more than a recording or text. Of course, that doesn't mean I'm obligated to try to help them, make myself available, even if some part of me wants to. But yeah, I will not be overwhelmed by others' needs, even though I'm concerned with everyone's needs. I'm not saying it's my business per se, but I can just intend for them. Everyone who wants to help everyone is afraid of being overwhelmed. Of course, I never actually have been overwhelmed because I've tried so little to actually reach out. On to the next. That one's boring. Typing nice things isn't worth the discomfort and won't make it easier for me to say nice things vocally. Well, obviously it's worth the discomfort in the majority of cases, considering how little I actually do it by my definition. After all, that is what matters, isn't it? I could really gain a lot by doing it a lot more, starting right now. Seriously. That's what I should do right now. That's what I want to do right now, so I'm gonna just do it. After this, my recordings won't truly help anyone. They'll forget about them fast, and they won't share them. Well, even if they don't share them, doesn't mean they're gonna forget about them. Even if 2/3 do forget about them. The 1/3 that doesn't obviously makes it more than worth it. Here's one that I may have said already, but just in case I didn't, and even if I didn't, patient self-encouragement and envisionment just ain't worth it, and even if it is, I don't have the patience. It's up to me whether I have the patience. Oh, and if I do have proof to have some degree of patience, well, it won't be enough, and I'll become too uncomfortable. I don't even know that I'll become more than a little uncomfortable, and I don't know how long that discomfort will last. In fact, realistically, I think it'll go away pretty fast. I mean, I've tried sustained, as in like for more than even, 5 minutes? Patient encouragement of myself for such a relatively little degree that I still have no way of knowing. I still do not know from experience whether or not it actually is uncomfortable, especially beyond a certain point of, involvement and time and focus. So guess what? That actually hypes me to encourage myself right now, as hopefully it does you. But, not too hopefully. It's not going to be attached. You know what? I'm just going to encourage myself right now in this. Unplanned. But, that is what I'm doing by refuting these limiting perceptions. It doesn't mean I need to limit myself to just this form, though. I am using my imagination. This is not boring. Just be patient. It will prove to be a form of hypno that will really work. None of them care anywhere near as much as I do about these awarenesses and fear refutations and sharing them with as many as possible. How the hell do I know that? By the way, many of these are worth repeating more than once in the same file. I am certain that at least a few of you listening to this care actually as much as I do about the same general awarenesses and fear refutations. I really do want to share them with as many as possible. though probably not because of me. You know, it really is worth it for me to express some of the social fears I have, so that if whoever you are, we end up actually talking due to a mutual perception of having significantly similar interests and goals in terms of doing what we can to empower others in an enjoyable way, no less. That way, well, you will know how I feel about certain things, and you know, that's communication. And then you will be at least, you know, a lot more able to reassure me that at least some of those fears are not based, are actually based on falsehood, and they are wrong. That doesn't mean I need anyone else to reassure me, but it doesn't mean that it can't help either. I'm going to stand up now. I'm going to walk around in my room. Why? Because when I'm moving, I think better. And it's a fact that the better a recording I make, the more awareness jammed it is, the more, you know, the greater the greater the perception of empowering awarenesses I actually discover while making the recording, the more I'm going to want to share it. The recordings I've made so far have been not that impressive to me. But guess what? I shared them anyway, to some degree, and that's good. But anyway, it's also boring compared to what is about to be in front of your ears. Yes, patience is good, but it is not mutually exclusive to active thinking. You don't have to meditate a ton in order to use your brain efficiently. Nor do I believe do you even have to exercise physically. Don't worry, I'll be plenty motivated to exercise physically once I'm actually expressing myself right to people's faces. You know, people who actually want to hear what I have to say. I haven't met a single person like that yet. I don't know why I said that. I thought it'd be funny, but it wasn't. Unfortunately, it's also not true, because I wasn't serious. It's quite the opposite of true. I'm just so afraid of people not responding when I send them a text message. Not over the phone. I mean, yeah, over the phone, but also, especially, over the internet. The thing is, though, I've definitely become a lot more good at doing it anyway, by being afraid to, because I have gotten used to people not responding. I know that they're busier than I can imagine, and I don't hold anything against them for it. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't send them the stuff that I care about, right? I know that many of you agree with that. And guess what? It's fact. And that is extremely encouraging, to say the least. Okay, this is like so far the best recording I've made in a good while. Why? Because I'm thinking. I'm not being patient. I'm walking around, and that helps me to think better. And we truly imagine the degree of absolute euphoria, to put it lightly, we will experience if we actually say consistently what we want to say, to the right people, of course. I mean, it's as simple as that. Now, how many of you listening to this are not doing that? Especially to the degree that I have not been. If you have not, then hopefully I am motivating you to do so as soon as possible, and not distract yourself with anything that is not superior and makes you happier than saying what you actually want to say to the right people, or to what may seem to be the right people, or possibly the right people. I am surprisingly enjoying this. I don't feel a need to explain everything to death, which is what I tend to end up trying to do. Oh wait, that's negative. Never mind. You know, I really just don't feel like sitting down and typing right now what I want to say. I mean, it's just infinitely more efficient to record it, even though unfortunately it's inversely efficient for them, for many of you, because, you know, reading is a lot faster than listening. But then that's a limiting perception too. How do I know that's true in every case, or even the majority of cases? If I talk fast enough, I'll be able to talk faster than you can read. Iodine heals bug bites. Did you know this? Put it on. There, I said it. A health data point. By the way, if you are not healthy and you eat horrible patented lab molecules for a living, and you have been doing so to such a degree that it becomes actually symptomatic, and you're not denying that fact, and you want to do something about it, you feel that you just don't have the encouragement, well, you're certainly listening to the right person, because I am happy to provide you with a good deal of encouragement. I won't say like, hours of encouragement one-on-one every day, because that's just being too invested and dependent. But the simple fact is that if someone were to tell me I would like encouragement with the way I eat and learning about nutrition, aka the atomic elements that make up the physical universe, which also make up me and us, how they affect each other at all times, then I would be encouraged. I would be happy to hear someone say that to me. But then again, you know what I'm about to say, right? I'm no longer invested in that. Yes, given the illustrious knowledge I possess, and should just plain say to you right now, in extremely truncated form of course, I do always feel that it is in some ways my duty to at least, mention it. But I don't know to what degree it's my duty to mention it, to what degree. I really don't like the feeling of mentioning whatever nutritional data point, or even just biological, and them being all, what? I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I mean, gotta be spontaneous sometimes, right? Otherwise it's just too predictable or something. Sorry, I mean, I slipped on the logic, but whatever. It's more than fine. Even if you feel disappointed, it's understandable. I do too. But on the other hand, I should be proud of myself for allowing myself to say something that is not intelligent sounding to me. Here's the thing, let's just smile. I will not become impatient with myself while making these, because I've wanted for so long to make them. And I know that I am doing good to humanity right now by doing this and sharing it. And guess what? The more I do it, needless to say, the more good I'm going to be doing, because the more effective my communication will be. The more empowering the information. And that reminds me, most people will freely admit, I believe, or at least they know inwardly, even if they aren't willing to admit it outwardly, that they do not get remotely 1/5 as much encouragement as is optimal, as is good for them. Who's gonna deny that? Well, I don't care how many people deny it. I'm right about that. I got 0% down, 0.000% down, and I know that the majority of you listening agree. And even if you didn't, so what? I'm not gonna think in limiting terms anymore. I'm gonna say what I want to say, and that's a lot of stuff, as you know. Most of you do not have any, in fact I would say none of you have any idea of the totality of things that I want to say. Not that that's, an admonishment that you should know beforehand. Just trying to give you some idea of the range of opinions I have. Not that that necessarily does give one a sense. But, at least the expression was there, right? It beed put out. And it can't be taken back. This is experience. Let us just be positive. So much that we become habited of it, and it becomes automatic, so we stop forgetting to be positive. And we don't need justification for being positive. We don't need all these technically infallible methods for being positive. Not that there isn't incalculable value in that. I'm actually kind of looking forward to my next workday, because then I'll have no choice but to sit there in front of the computer. And if I want to say what I want to say, then I have to type it. Okay, let's get into the real good specific stuff now. We should be in our making our intentions, we should always do them in the present affirmative. Imagining how it would feel if they were true. Not to say that we need to convince ourselves that they are true, because that's really, really, really hard and unrealistic. Oh, here's some questions for you. Do you get stressed out by overinvestment, involuntarily seeming and convincing someone of something? Have you made it a habit of automatically frustrating yourself, abusing yourself, by trying to influence people into looking at the facts, things that you know are true, and that you know that they are emotionally against being true, so therefore they come up with all sorts of idiotic, unbelievable justifications and denials, make you want to foam even just thinking about. Well, how many people can't identify with that feeling? At least some, but the majority I think really can identify with that. So let's look at what we have in common. All I gotta say is, don't do it. I've had to learn the hard way. Not the hardest of ways, fortunately, but I've wasted a lot of energy and time, making myself fairly miserable, convincing myself that it'll be worth it in the long run. I'll convince them. And guess what? I ended up not even trying all that much because I was too afraid. Maybe that's a good thing. I'll tell you, it really can destroy your life, and it would definitely have destroyed mine if I had let it. I really was obsessed at times. So if you're a New World Order awareness activist, as I have for a long time wanted to be, well, and have been to a limited extent online only, for the most part. I don't know for certain, but I strongly suspect that you're more than a little frustrated overall by how that's proceeding. Even if you have, quote, woken a lot of people up. I'm not saying it isn't worth it. Part of me is always likely to feel, yeah, it's what we gotta do. We gotta wake up as many people as possible to the evil bankers that want to kill us all. Actually, worse than kill us, enslave us, turn us into torturers. Okay, I vow that's all I'm going to say. I don't want this to be negative or to turn anyone away. In fact, I already regret saying what I have, because if you were to actually ask me why I believe it, I would feel it isn't even worth it. Because just because a person is aware of it is by no means a guarantee they're going to use that information wisely. In fact, I don't even believe necessarily that there needs to be a total mass awakening for it to be stopped. And even if there was a total mass awakening, how does that mean it's going to be stopped? Do you have a dog and or a cat? If so, what do you feed them? I'm super interested in nutritional animal, because their lives too, and affect ours bigly. Yes, their lives do affect our lives bigly. How's that for a subject change? Okay, that's it. I'm gonna be real positive now. Positiver than you would ever have thought by this point. We are encourago machines. And if I say something that is incorrect, I will not correct myself anymore. People are gonna like this recording. Wait, that's only positive of me. I need to be positive of us. Just all overall good. Patient but not perfectionist. Halfway optimistic. I mean, you really do have to be patient to some degree, otherwise you, that is me, am going to get stressed out. Why don't I just kind of settle down and look at what I've already written? Just a tiny portion of what I've already written. For example, a few days ago I wrote this service to others list. Stop doubting yourself. Refute dumb fears. Take all practical steps to ensure your health and safety, including optimal sleep and psychic defense training. Envision in a group, because you know that's how you get it to really do stuff. Ask for and share emotional videos and audio, emotionally inspiring that is, including testimonials for all kinds of things. Tell them how to be less attached. Subconscious audio repetition. They are me. That means, listen without listening and hope that it'll, just sink in without you noticing. Brain Ev, that is a brain, frequency recording product that I got for free, by asking for a refund. They just let me keep it. Hey, you never know. It might help you if you're willing to listen to it, like, for half an hour every day. It might not be easy, but at least I mentioned it, alright? Make recordings. There is no substitute. In terms of reaching a large number of people personally without having to leave your house, yeah. EFT, that is emotional freedom technique. Venting. Not that they're necessarily the same thing exactly, but it is one of the gooder ways to help people, isn't it? Based on what I've seen, yeah. Just not through my own experience. And in terms of venting, I've vented very little. It's a negative sounding topic, so I won't say much of it. I just don't, for the most part, feel that it's necessary, because I've experienced so little suffering in my life. So that can wait until I've suffered some more. Give stuff away. Whoa. You know how absurd it is that I don't even think of that most of the time. I have a lot of things I could and would like to actually give away. How about you? Could even help people. So yeah, I'm glad I looked at this list. I'm also glad I made the list so I would look at it. So that I would be able to look at it, rather. Keep track of our needs. Ask for them, which means Oh no, ask for them. It means if they're afraid to ask someone for something, just ask for them. I mean, that's a way of helping them, isn't it? As long as what they're asking for is not unreasonable or ridiculous or not something anyone would need. Hypno recordings above all? That means if I make, quote, hypno recordings and I do them really right, which of course there is a general right way for some topics, I'm sure. At least, you know, there's a way of making them that many people will respond favorably to, thereby making it beyond worth it to make and share them. So I should just try to do that. I will. I mean, think about it. If you do it right, which realistically is going to take quite a deal of practice, it could in fact prove to be magic. What a beyond enticing prospect. So do it. Help the helpers above all. Well, you know, part of me feels at least that it makes the most sense to help people who are helping others, because if they get in a bad situation where they don't know where to live with so-and-so and all such, you know, that happens all the time, and you can help them with that situation or whatever other situation, then they're that much able to help more people. And thus, you know, you're helping those people too by helping the people who are helping them, or would be helping them if they had the help that they need. Isn't this hyping you? I hope so. Also, remind them of their intentions, but first ask, do you forget your intentions sometimes and wish that you didn't forget, and thus were reminded? Because I will say right now that if I agree with the value of your specific intentions and that they are not misguided, I'm probably as happy as anyone to remind you of those intentions, because I know that doing so helps you if you forget. Thereby I do say officially, express to me in text form that you want to be reminded of whatever you want to be reminded of, and I'll look at it, and if I agree with it, then I will. Get support from them too, I wrote. Yes, I need support from people, specifically emotional support. What does that mean? I need encouragement, and I need people to listen to what I listen in person, not just, you know, over the internet file recording of Source for them. Yeah, I need them to listen in person and not just over the phone to what I want to say. And that also applies to me reading to them things that I have written that I want to read to them, because that way I'll know word for word beforehand what I want to say. And I judge that to be of incalculable efficiency and effectiveness. And of course there's ultimate questions that if we were aware of, we would be that much more likely to be asking them right now. If you've listened this far, I'm very glad, and I hope that you will say what you want to say to me that is perceived by you as how you really feel, not just whether it will help me. I just need authentic communication, as much as I need anything that I don't already have enough of. I'm still very much held back, as you can tell, in saying what I want to say to pretty much anyone, what I most want to say, which is that we have to, you know, work together if we want to be truly happy and functional. Because, well, what do you think's gonna happen if we don't? If we continue on the way we're going, what do you think's gonna happen? Oh, don't worry about that. The rapture will come before then. Well, needless to say, anyone who believes that and actually lives by that belief, literally, like, you know, just don't bother. Don't bother trying to grow and, you know, be interdependent and communicative, open-minded, and inquisitive, and caring, and kind, and contributive, and tolerant, because it's all for nothing. Yeah, anyone who feels that way, well, I doubt I've changed your mind, and I'm glad to have wasted your time. Not that I believe I have. Fortunately, I don't think there's really anyone listening to this who even does feel that way, so probably didn't even bear mentioning, but oh well. This is just the beginning. This recording is absolute crap compared to what's to come. You know it. That's not to say it's not a good recording. It's a fairly good recording in itself. But I fortunately truly do believe that what is to soon follow is going to be nothing short of inspiring. And if you found this inspiring, you will find the next ones life-changing. That is because hopefully they will be duologues, not just monologues. I'm having to think all the time of what to say.